Hello and welcome to Coach Hoots' Hot Corner Episode 3, brought to you by BCHornetsports.com. I'm Coach Jared Hoots. This week on the Hot Corner, we recap both boys and girls basketball from the past week, preview the games in front of them for this week, take a look at area news, upcoming tournaments, regional sites, take a look at the junior high schedule. We're also on our high horse this week, and we're going to talk about bench behavior. Lady Hornets started off their week with a 38-34 loss to Carrollton on Monday. Those long road trips, couple that with a Monday game, usually leads to some rough play, and the game in Carrollton was a little rough going in the WIVC matchup there, and the girls came away with a 38-34 loss there. Then the Hornets traveled to Liberty on Thursday, which they came out with a 46-39 win, which puts Coach Dave Phelps' Hornets at 6-4 right now, and 0-2 in the WIVC. The Hornets traveled to Route on Monday to take on the Route Rockets, who are currently 10-0 and on top of the WIVC standings at 3-0. Then they traveled to North Green on Thursday, which North Green is now 5-6 and 1-1 in the WIVC. On Saturday, the Hornets traveled to John Wood to play in the Rumble on the River against Highland High School. Highland sets at 5-6. That game will be played at 7:30. The JV girls had a couple games out of the fresh soft level, and they were victorious in both this week at home. Taking a look at the girls' WIVC standings right now, Route is 3-0 in the conference. West Central is 3-1. Brown County is 0-2. Greenfield Northwestern is 1-3. North Green is 1-1. Iopia is 2-2, and Carrollton is 1-1. Looking ahead to the girls' holiday tournament, the girls go to the 38th annual Lady Tiger Classic in Beardstown. With that, the number 1 seed is Lewiston. The number 4 seed is Illini West. The number 2 seed is Route. Number 3 is Illini Bluffs. This is a 24 seed tournament. Brown County got the 13th seed. They will play 11 o'clock in the high school gym on December 27th against Macomb. If you ever seen the Lady Tiger Classics schedule, you are in for a treat. It's a true double elimination tournament. It gives some people nightmares to try to figure out where everybody goes, but it's a true double elimination tournament that it's hard to follow, but it's very, very intriguing, that's for sure. Looking at the girls' postseason sites, our girls more likely will feed into either the Liberty or the Mason City Illini Central regional site. With that, there's a Whitehall North Green site, but I believe a lot of southern schools will go to that. The sectional would be at Havana, and the super section will be at Illinois College. Brown County boys basketball team spent their week down in Whitehall North Green at the North Green Invitational Tournament. The boys basketball team won 49-27 over Greenfield Northwestern in the first round of the North Green tournament. Tate Fullerton scored 20 points to lead the Hornets. The Hornets held the Tigers to their lowest point total of the year. Tate Fullerton and the rest of the guards did a great job having ball pressure on the Tigers' guards, which prevented them to get the ball, get anything going for the Greenfield Northwestern Tigers. In the second round, the Hornets lost by 2, 52-50 in Western. Western took a 27-26 lead into halftime. The fourth quarter saw a back-and-forth game where the Hornets just didn't pick up the right bounces to get the game to go their way. Nathan Henniker led the Hornets with 24 and leading all scorers in that game. The boys lost by 3 to Lovejoy, 51-48 in the third place game. Lovejoy was a very athletic team that did a lot of damage on the offensive rebounds. I know they had at least 12 in the first half. With that, it's probably the most athletic team the Hornets played so far. They'll get another dose of that athleticism on Friday when the Beardstown Tigers come to town. In the game, Nathan Henniker led the Hornets with 21 points. The Hornets had their chances down the stretch and just couldn't convert. Had a good look at 3 at the buzzer, but fell just short. Nathan Henniker was also selected to the all-tournament team down in North Green. Calhoun won the tournament 56-47 over Western. The Hornets this week are finally got some home cooking at home in the Nest. The Hornets are at home versus ISD on Tuesday, playing one game, so no JV game that night. I believe it starts either 6 or 7. I'm not quite for sure what time they're getting rolling at that time. And then on Friday, like I mentioned before, the Beardstown Tigers come in at 6-2, come into the Nest with Pascal Giavogi, one of the best athletes in the area, to come play on the floor at the Nest, along with the rest of the people that you saw on the football field. So a very athletic squad coming coming from Beardstown, making the trip down 24 to Brown County to play on Fridays. So make sure you're at the Nest for that one. On Saturday, the Rumble at the Rivers at 9:30 on Saturday versus Highland, John Ward Community College. 9:30 at night, that is. Play Highland High School. They're 1-7 right now, coming in, and that is a Missouri school. Looking ahead, the Hornets play Liberty in the Macomb Holiday Tournament over the Christmas break at 9 o'clock the day after Christmas. We'll be previewing that tournament and the other tournaments coming up probably in next episodes. The Winchester tournament seedings would be done on Wednesday this week. Looking at some other information, the Class A sites have been out, and our Hornets will be at home regardless of what seed they get, because we are hosting a regional this year. Our regional this year will feed into Lewiston, Galva, Havana, Brown County, and Princeville all host regionals that feed into Lewiston and then feed into the bowl. The one that we'll see at the bowl is Concord, Triopia, Franklin, Raymond, Lincolnwood, and Valmeyer all feed into the Dupo sectional, which will meet our winner at the bowl. Taking a look at the WWC conference standings right now, West Central Cougars are 2-0 right now. Brown County is 1-1. Routt is 1-0. Griggsville Perry is 0-3. North Green is 1-0. Pleasant Hill is 0-1. Triopia is 1-1. ISD is 0-2. And Carrollton is 1-0 in the conference. Looking at the overall records, West Central is 8-0. Routt is 5-2. Brown County is 3-3. Greenfield Northwestern is 3-2. Calhoun sets at a perfect 5-0. Griggsville Perry is 0-7. North Green is 2-2. Pleasant Hill is 0-4. Triopia is 3-4. ISD is 0-2, and Carrollton is 2-3 right now in the boys' standings. Taking a look at some junior high results this week. Went and watched the junior high game on Thursday night against South Fulton, and the 7th graders won behind a good effort from Tice Fullerton, was the leading scorer, puts them at 10-0 or 10-2, sorry, on this year's this season. And the 8th graders are 5-7. Jack Anderson was the leading scorer for the 8th graders in their victory over South Fulton. Saw a lot of good things out of the young Hornets in their first home game of the year. I believe they're at home 2 games next week, so make sure you go out and support those junior high Hornets. In other area news, Brown County graduate Tanner Susenbach, who is a sophomore at McMurray College, has been named to the D3Football.com All-Region 3rd team, as announced on Tuesday. Following a breakout season, the tight end earns his first All-Region honor, which comes on the heels of his first All-UMAC pick in November. In his first season as a starter, Susenbach excelled for the Highlanders, hauling in 8 touchdown catches, the second most on the team. He also registered 600 yards receiving this past season. His biggest game came in the season finale, a 35-20 win over St. Scholastica. Susenbach finished with 96 yards receiving and 2 touchdown grabs. Like last week, we talked about making the most of your opportunities, and here is Tanner, a wing T tight end, getting a 3rd team all-region pick. He didn't play much as a freshman last year, but worked extremely hard in the offseason. I remember the days of not playing as a freshman in college. You go from being a starter for 3 years in 3 sports, and then all of a sudden now you're not playing. It's a tough thing to go through mentally as you wonder why you're training so hard. Why are you going to practice? Why am I going to school? But Tanner did a great job staying focused, and when that opportunity arose this year to being the starting tight end, he ran with it. For you guys who don't know, an all-region pick is all the schools that are in your region. D3 is broken down by 4 regions. There's about 40 to 50 schools in each region. So what this is saying is Tanner is the 3rd best tight end out of 40 to 50 schools in this region, so it's a huge accomplishment for Tanner. Tanner's a hardworking young man. I had the pleasure of coaching him in 3 sports for 4 years, so I spent a lot of time with Tanner. Tanner's a great role model for our kids here in Brown County. To be just from a small school to go to have that success at the higher level is a great thing for our programs to use to show that it can be done. There's a lot of times where we get grief for not running a spread offense or our offense is old, but here's proof that you turn out quality kids to go play football at the next level. It doesn't matter what offense or defense you run. It's about the quality of kid that you're turning out. So if you see Tanner around the area, this holiday season, he's still working at Dot, and I see him at the Y all the time working out. Make sure you tell him congratulations, because it takes a lot of hard work at the next level to get this done, and I'm very proud of Tanner and the job he's done, and I'm looking forward to what the next 2 years has in store for Tanner. I know that first team all-region pick is coming from him, and I'm going to be very happy for him once he receives it. Today on Hoots' High Horse, we're going to talk about how to act when you're not in the game. Something I always look for when I go to watch games is how players reacting when they're on the bench, not in the game. Are they standing up during timeouts, checking out the whiteboard? Are they looking in the stands? Are they checking out the cheerleaders? Are they looking at mom and dad? How are they reacting when they come out of the game? So far this year, I've seen some alarming things. I've seen kids lean back like they're watching a movie at home in their chair, almost like if they need a bowl of popcorn to watch the game. They're turned around talking to people in the crowd while the game's going on. They're on their phone on the bench, have their phone with them during timeouts. Then my favorite that I normally see everywhere is making gestures to mom and dad up in the stands. Why did I get taken out? Rolled my hands up in the air to see what's going on. When I went and scouted teams, I always took note of who looked engaged and who didn't look engaged. Who would act out when they were taken out of games. When we watched film, I checked out our own guys. Were they paying attention to what I was drawing up on the whiteboard? Were they reacting to me whenever I had taken them out of the games? Were their eyes looking up in the crowd to look for somebody else? Opposing coaches pick up on these things. I look at other coaches to see what they're doing. If they stand in a certain spot, or are they calling a certain play, or are they talking to a certain someone. This year I watched a thing on Urban Meyer, who used to coach Ohio State's football program. He said that he would put a graduate assistant on the sidelines to watch the opposing head coach. Meyer knew if he wasn't involved in the special teams game and the special teams coordinator was talking to him, he knew there'd be an onside kick, a fake punt, or something surprise was coming. I think a lot has to do with the me, or the fast food society that we see these days. What I mean is I want to play now, and if I can't play now, I'm going to get some type of attention because I'm not playing. With that, so it would be negative attention I'm getting. So my suggestion was to get positive attention. Be a Monmouth College bench mob. If you guys ever seen them, every time they make a three, they make some type of celebration. They form something. They do something crazy. Now, obviously, if the coach is okay with that, that's a little extreme. But make sure you celebrate your team's success. Get excited when something good happens. If something bad happens, make sure you're there for your teammates and pick them up. As a coach, I've gotten hit with a towel, a water bottle, got bumped around by kids whenever they were generally excited about the game. Looking back on it now, it's pretty funny. At the time, I thought, I got hit with somebody or something, or somebody threw something at me. But looking on it now, it was great to see the kids that excited for their teammates doing something well. When you have the full bench engaged in the game, that things are going well. Make yourself available. Don't go sit at the end of the bench. Sit right next to the coach. Get coached up. Just because you came out, there's probably a reason. You might just be getting a 2-minute rest. It's hard to play 32 minutes of basketball nonstop at their full level. So make sure you come sit next to the coach. He might have a couple things to say to you. Then after that, you're going to go right back in the game. Or if you sit next to the coach, maybe he has something to tell you to get coached up. Don't make a coach come find you. There's many times in the football season where I'm looking for somebody and they're nowhere to be found. So I just throw in the guy next to me and tell him, hey, you're going to go do this. But the reason he goes in the game because he's right next to me. One last thing is you can learn a lot by watching the game. The play calls for the other team. What should be done on the court? If they're playing a zone defense, where are the holes at? What kind of tendencies that the teams have? So in the meantime is make sure just because you're on the bench, you can't check out of the game. You got to keep your mind right. You got to keep your mind right on the bench. Let your body do the talking when you get back in. It takes a whole team to win games, not just individuals. This has been a production of BCHornetsports.com. This is Coach Jared Hoots signing off. Get out and support your BC Hornets this week. And remember, make sure you're living life like a 3-1 count. See you next week.